Good evening and welcome to TV 16 News Live at 5. I'm Sammy Bieland.
And I'm Taylor Abbey. Coming up, a former university president and state senator gives up his license to practice law.
And the Arkansas Senate approves the state's spending plan for the coming year. But first, let's take a look at sports with Marshall Hughes.
Thanks, Sammy. Coming up a little later, see what's happening now with your Harding sports and find out why NBA star John Wall went off Floyd Money Mayweather on Zildrunas Ilgauskas last night during a game. All that and more, but your headlines start now as TV 16 News starts.
Following several earthquakes in Faulkner County over the past year, Harding University practiced what it would be like if one were to happen on campus. The annual disaster drill took place at the university's library. One nursing professor deems the day a success.
It was. From an academics point, it really was. As far as planning it goes, is looking at what didn't go right and always working on how to improve that, and that's true of any agency.
Past disaster drills have improved Harding's communication and coordination among faculty, as well as emergency departments in Searcy.
Harding University hosts a French dinner to raise awareness for the struggling churches in French-speaking Europe. The theme for this dinner is April in Paris. The dinner will be Saturday evening at 6 in Cone Chapel. Students and alumni will provide musical entertainment throughout the event. All proceeds benefit a student-led campaign into Europe to work with local churches. Campaign leader Robert McCready says there are only 6 churches in French-speaking Europe.
The first Thaw Festival that has been promoted for months is just around the corner. The festival begins tomorrow night. There will be several bands playing throughout the weekend, with the headlining band being the Avett Brothers. There will also be a vendor garden where several food and informational vendors will be set up for people to learn or just get some treats. The festival is $35 for students, $50 for the general public, and $10 for anyone with the cab pass. For the official schedule and ticket information, check out the festival's website at firstthawfestival.com. And a benefit to help relief efforts in Japan will be held in Conway on Saturday. Several Japanese students at the University of Central Arkansas are teaming up with faculty members to organize a concert that will include karaoke. UCA's Save Japan benefit concert will begin Saturday night at 7:30. Faculty, staff, and students will be performing. The concert's cover charge is $4. All money raised will go to the American Red Cross for those affected by the devastating earthquake and tsunami that struck Japan on March 11th.
Former president of the University of Central Arkansas gives up his license to practice law. Lou Hardin pleaded guilty to wire fraud and money laundering charges earlier this month after falsifying a document that gave him permission to make early draws on a $300,000 bonus. Today's court filings show Hardin's petition to surrender his Arkansas license has been granted. Hardin says he decided to voluntarily surrender his license to avoid unnecessary proceedings.
A small plane makes an emergency landing in Lonoke County this morning. 2 passengers on the plane and the pilot were not injured. Officials say the 4-seat Cessna took off from Stuttgart and went down around 8 this morning near Highway 165. The plane was at 4,000 feet when the engine went out. The pilot attempted to make an emergency landing on the highway, but the plane's wings struck a bridge and broke off. The aircraft spun around and was unable to make a safe landing. Officials have not released the names of those on board.
In Pine Bluff, police are on the lookout for 2 men suspected of breaking into a house yesterday. When detectives came to the home where the burglary had occurred, they found the owner of the home hiding in the closet. The 2 men had broken into the home without realizing the homeowner was there. Once they realized they weren't alone, the 2 men fled. Police are still looking for any information on the suspects.
Gas prices keep going up little by little, according to the AAA. The national gas price average for today is $3.60, 5 cents over last week's average. Arkansas drivers are paying an average of $3.47 per gallon of gas. That is 2 cents more than what they were paying just yesterday. White County average is at $3.46 right now, and Searcy's average gas price is $3.49, 5 cents more than you would pay just 2 days ago. The cheapest gas in the state is found in Jacksonville at $3.39, and Searcy has the cheapest gas in White County today. It can be found at the Phillips 66 on South Main Street with $3.44.
Arkansas schools and prisons may be getting a little extra money in the next fiscal year. The Arkansas Senate has approved the state's $4.6 billion spending plan for the coming year. The legislation will divide $50 million of surplus money for various projects. Top priority will be given to state public schools and prisons, which are the only agencies receiving significant spending increases for the fiscal year. And a bill to force stricter standards on Arkansas's only surgical abortion clinic is voted down by a state House committee. The bill failed on a 10-9 vote yesterday, with 11 votes needed to pass the House Public Health Committee. During the debate, legislators argued that changes could be made by the Department of Human Services, not through legislation. Supporters of the bill argued that abortion procedures can result in serious complications.
Greenwood police announced the city has enacted an area quarantine after a 6th skunk tested positive for rabies. The quarantine falls under the Arkansas Department of Health guidelines in circumstances of 3 or more positive rabies cases in animals within a certain area. The quarantine will cover the next 30 days until it can be reviewed for further consideration.
Texarkana residents are complaining about the taste and smell of their water. According to officials, the city's water is safe despite all of the complaints. Texarkana Water Utilities Director Bill King says the problem is due to algae in the lake where the city has been getting its water. The city is in the process of shifting the water supply to a new area where algae is not a problem. King says rain is needed to help eliminate the bacteria problem.
So Katie, it was a little muggy and a little wet outside today. Can you tell us what it's going to be like the rest of the week?
Well, we did see a little bit of sunshine today, and coming up after the break, I'll tell you if we can expect more of that weather headed into the weekend. Stay with us.
I'm a mommy. I love kids. I'm responsible, loving, nurturing. Ow! Just don't break anything! Play nice! No, don't touch that!
Aren't you going to do something?
I could use a little compassion. Stop! Being a parent's a lot of work.
You don't have to be perfect
Where's Mommy?
to be a perfect parent.
Here I am.
Here are our weather headlines. We are seeing warmer temperatures today, and we are going to see some clearer skies headed into the weekend. Our almanac shows our high today was 57 and our low 39. That is a great deal lower than our average for this time of year. In our surface map, you can see that we do have a little bit of rain and some bad weather in the area, but that is expected to move out towards the weekend, and we are going to see this low pressure system move in and bring us some warmer and drier weather. Our current temperatures across the state, we do have 51 in Jonesboro, 51 in Pine Bluff, and 60 in El Dorado. It's currently 53 degrees in Searcy. Our humidity is at 56%, and we do have a southwest wind at 11 miles per hour. Now tonight, we can expect our low around 39, and there is a chance of rain, and that might stay with us till tomorrow, and we do have a west wind at 7 miles per hour. Now tomorrow, we are going to see some warmer temperatures, our high around 73. It is going to be partly cloudy, and we could see a 20% chance of rain. Now take a look at your 5-day forecast, we can see we are going to have a warmer, sunnier weekend, and Monday we could see some showers return and maybe have our sunshine back on Tuesday. That's all for weather. Let's head back to the desk with Taylor Abbey.
And it's a soggy mess around Seattle after days of heavy rains. The downpours have caused an avalanche, a mudslide, and widespread flooding. An area of wet air over the western part of the state is blamed for the soaking. Forecasters issued a flood watch for most of the region through Friday afternoon. Rivers are expected to fall below flood stage this weekend.
And in the opposite corner of the country, severe weather is happening in the Tampa, Florida area this afternoon. There's no official word if a tornado did this damage, but we do have confirmation a tornado touched down just south of Lakeland in Mulberry. The National Weather Service also believes a tornado hit in nearby Hillsborough County, knocking down trees and power lines. And there were some minor injuries and damage after an aviation fair in Lakeland was hit. A tent collapsed.
In national news, 9 hospital patients died in Alabama, and an investigation is underway.
And Libya is at the center of discussion in D.C. today. Would the U.S. send troops to Libya? Find out after the break.
Station
KVHU,
our exact frequency,
95.3,
our guarantee.
where variety is the spice of life.
Listen to Fox News Radio updates at the top of each hour on KVHU 95.3.
News at the top of every hour and weather every 20 minutes. Your music and information station.
Other stations talk about variety. We play it.
A great variety.
95.3 KVHU.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at ready.gov.
A Colorado woman has reason to smile today. She's reunited with her young daughter after spending more than a year apart. As Glenn Mills explains, police say the child's father caused the separation.
It was scary not knowing if I was ever going to see her again. And I'm glad she's back, and I'm glad that finally some justice has been done.
It was about 1 year and 15 days ago that Sierra Bogard told her husband Jason she wanted a divorce. She says she wanted out of the relationship because he was abusive. That's when Jason allegedly took their 3-year-old daughter Chantel and left town. It was a day that kicked off a frantic search and a very dark period in Sierra's life.
I was always stressed all the time and depressed.
Sierra did what she could to cope with the unknown as the case against her ex-husband slowly moved forward. In January, a warrant was issued for his arrest and U.S. Marshals began to hunt him down. Then last week came the call that Sierra was hoping for. Her daughter had been found, though a long way from home.
Last Thursday, we got a call from the U.S. Marshals saying that they had found her, and she was in Kansas City, Missouri.
Emotions were running so high at the time, she first thought someone was playing a joke. But now, as the two embrace, it's clear that's not the case. And mother and daughter have a lot of catching up to do.
She's just been very attached to me. She won't leave me alone and stuff, but that's okay because I missed her and it's been a long time coming.
And through that long and trying year comes a message of hope.
Don't give up. Your child is the most important thing in your life and you don't want to ever lose it.
Jason Bogard is being held in a Missouri jail. He faces extradition back to Colorado on charges of violating a protection order.
An investigation is underway into how 9 hospital patients in Alabama died. Health officials think bacterial infections may have come from contaminated IV bags. In addition to the 9 people dead, at least 10 more are sick right now. So far, the outbreak has been limited to 6 hospitals. A lawyer for the victims and their families say he hopes the outbreak isn't larger than we think.
There's 6 hospitals that we know about right now. Hopefully that's going to be all of the hospitals, but since this the solution, the fluids were put out, nutritional fluids were put out in January and were not recalled till March the 24th. We are concerned that perhaps it's much more widespread than has been reported.
The nutrition product that was in the IV bag was made by Birmingham, Alabama-based Meds IV. The company hasn't publicly commented on the investigation, and its website is currently offline.
Thousands of state workers staged a protest today at the New Hampshire Capitol. They're demonstrating against a proposed budget that would limit the powers of labor unions. On Wednesday, House Republicans passed a measure that includes controversial changes. If passed, collective bargaining would be limited on issues like wages, hours, and working conditions. New Hampshire is the latest state to consider such legislation. Wisconsin and Ohio have already passed similar bills.
Tea Partiers are turning up the heat again. They're upset about the possible budget deal between Democrats and Republicans in Congress. Many feel the proposed budget cuts don't go far enough. The group Tea Party Patriots held a continuing revolution rally outside of the U.S. Capitol today to express their anger. Potential presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann was among them. Earlier today, the founder of Tea Party Nation criticized House Speaker John Boehner for his handling of the budget negotiations.
There will be no American boots on the ground in Libya. White House spokesman Jay Carney stressing that to reporters, also saying the U.S. can't predict when the Libya conflict will end.
Will not go into Libya. That the president made that clear when he announced U.S. military action, and he made it clear again the other night. There are forms of assistance we can provide to the opposition, working with our coalition partners, but he has no intention to put U.S. military personnel, U.S. troops on the ground in Libya.
While the White House says American troops won't go into Libya, an intelligence source says there are CIA operatives on the ground.
Libya's civil war is costing the U.S. money and lots of it. Today, lawmakers are holding multiple hearings on the conflict and the U.S. involvement in the military action. House Foreign Affairs Committee member Brad Sherman is concerned about the paying for the operation.
This is costing what the American people think it's costing. That is to say, millions of dollars a week. The $30 billion we seized from Libya and Gaddafi assets should be used immediately to defer these costs. Gaddafi has American blood on his hands, but so do some of the rebel commanders. They fought us in Afghanistan and Iraq, and we should demand that the rebels extradite these criminals, or at least use their best efforts. And it would start by stopping cooperation with and seeking to incarcerate Abdel Hakim al-Hasidi, who brags about the efforts he made against our troops in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Defense Secretary Robert Gates gave an update to members of the House Armed Services Committee. Gates said regime change is not the goal of the military mission, but he believes Muammar Gaddafi will be pushed from power.
In my view, the removal of Colonel Gaddafi will likely be achieved over time through political and economic measures and by his own people. However, this NATO-led operation can degrade Gaddafi's military capacity to the point where he and those around him will be forced into a very different set of choices and behaviors in the future.
Gates defended President Obama's decision to intervene militarily in Libya. He said it was in America's interest to prevent a humanitarian disaster, one that could destabilize the Middle East. Today, NATO officially took over leadership of the coalition operation and enforcement of the no-fly zone over the country.
So, Marshall, what's coming up in sports?
Well, right around the break, find out what NBA Hall of Famer was attacked last night after attending a basketball game. And we'll look at some highlights from the hardwood last night. Stay with us.
G morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me back. Hey, did you tell your parents about us? Let's skip first period together. Did you get all my texts? Is practice over yet? Where are you at? Are you with your friends? That's L-A-A-A-A-M-M-E-E-E.
Capital X, lowercase o, capital X, lowercase o.
I love you. JK. I hate you. JK.
Are you ignoring me?
We're in a huge fight right now.
Is this something I did?
I can see your lights on. I'm coming over.
What'd you dream about?
Me? I'm lonely. Holla back.
Holla back.
Let's try something new. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
The college basketball season is almost over, and only 4 teams are still standing. Now the Final Four are arriving in Houston. You can see the teams stepping off the plane as they land in the Bayou City. The city is hosting 2 national semifinal games on Saturday at Reliant Stadium. In the first game, my favorite team, Virginia Commonwealth, will face Butler. Then it's Kentucky against UConn. The winners of those 2 games square off Monday for the national title. Officials in Houston expect the Final Four to pump as much as $70 million into the local economy. And with a crack of the bat, baseball is back. Today marks the day of Major League Baseball's opening day. First game of the year started in D.C. this afternoon as the Nationals welcomed the Atlanta Braves to the Capitol. The Braves took that one 2-0 with a little help from Jason Hayward, who, by the way, started for my fantasy baseball team today. He knocked out a home run for his first at bat. Yankees also took care of business with a win over the Detroit Tigers 6-3. Baseball teams will continue their season opener over this weekend, but don't worry if you missed out watching your team. Because of March Madness, there will still be 161 games per team until the playoffs. And taking a look back around campus, the Harding men's tennis team ran its winning streak to 9 matches yesterday in Memphis. I feel like I'm getting deja vu. Seems like every time they play, it's the same old story over and over, getting kind of creepy. This time with victories over Christian Brothers and Lemoyne-Owen. Harding defeated Christian Brothers 9-0 and Lemoyne-Owen 6-0. The 15-1 Bisons will have the weekend off to prepare for Monday when it hosts Stillman. And looking across the net, Harding women's tennis team continues to dominate as they extended their winning streak to 6 matches yesterday with road victories over Lemoyne-Owen and Christian Brothers. All 6 of the victories have been shutouts. The Lady Bisons are back in action Friday with a GSC match against Ouachita Baptist in Searcy at 2 p.m. The Harding women's golf team placed second of 3 teams on Monday and Tuesday at the Mule Rider Invitational at the Par 71 Northridge Country Club in Texarkana, Texas. Harding's next action starts up April 11th as the Lady Bisons host the Natural State Golf Classic at the Red Apple Country Club in Heber Springs, Arkansas. And fists fly in a heated game between Miami and Washington. And a fan is arrested for attacking an Atlanta Hawks TV analyst after a basketball game. Here's your Headline Sports.
With Headline Sports, I'm Joe Carter. Tempers flared as the Heat visited the Wizards. Zydrunas Ilgauskas appeared to hit John Wall with an elbow. Wall responds with a punch. Players had to be separated, and when it was over, Wall, Big Z, and the Heat's Juwan Howard all ejected. LeBron James scored 35 points in the game, and Dwayne Wade scored 33. The Heat cruised 123-107. Derrick Rose and Carlos Boozer each had double-doubles to lead the Bulls past the T-Wolves 108-91. Rose had 23 points and 10 assists, while Boozer had 24 points and 14 rebounds. The Bulls have a 2.5-game lead for the best record in the Eastern Conference. In what could be a playoff preview, the Hawks beat the visiting Magic 85-82. Josh Smith led the way with 26 points. Joe Johnson finished with 18 and gave Atlanta the lead with just under a minute to play. If the playoffs started today, the Magic would be the 4th seed and would host 5th-seeded Atlanta. NBA Hall of Famer and Hawks announcer Dominique Wilkins was attacked after the game between the Hawks and the Magic. A former NBA referee was arrested and charged with 1 count of simple battery. He told authorities that Wilkins owed him money for suits. Wilkins was not seriously hurt in the incident. The Knicks rallied from 16 down to beat the Nets 120-116. Carmelo Anthony went off for 39 points and 10 assists. Chauncey Billups had 33 points. The Knicks edged closer to clinching their first playoff appearance since the 2003-2004 season. And the Thunder beat the Suns 116-98. Kevin Durant led 5 players in double figures with 22 points. James Harden matched that with 22 points off the bench. The Thunder have won 5 straight and have gone a franchise best 14-2 in the month of March. With Headline Sports, I'm Joe Carter.
That's all your sports news for right now. Let's see what's happening back at the desk with Taylor.
A 375-pound shark leaped into a fisherman's boat. The crew says they were in the Gulf of Mexico fishing for red snapper when it happened. As the two-member crew dumped bait into the water, the 8-foot shark made its move.
Next thing you know, something hits the side of the boat, and we look back, and it's about 15 foot up in there, and I yell, "Shark!" His mouth was wide open. I got marks on my fish box in the front that the teeth marks go in about a 1/4 inch or so where it just was biting it.
The shark had been feeding on the bait and couldn't wait for the next handout. The animal eventually died aboard because it was too heavy to dump back into the water. Joe plans to have the fish mounted. For now, it's displayed at a seafood store south of Houston.
New Jersey residents may have thought they were in a large recipe when a bakery blew its top, shooting a cloud of flour over cars and buildings nearby. Witnesses believe the eruption was an explosion as the flour filled the air and coated areas around it. On its way down, however, officials say a pipe became loose at the top of the La Esperanza bakery as flour was being pumped into the building. Luckily, the bakery reports only losing 10 bags of the 20,000 pounds that were being delivered. And pigs on the loose, a big brawl caught on camera, and an entire nation erupts into celebration.
The video that will have you talking is next, and take a look at this.
Take a look at this. Are these little piggies headed to jail?
It's okay. It's okay.
No, they're just going to the Animal Control Center. The animals were found along a busy North Carolina highway Wednesday. They likely fell off the back of a truck without the driver noticing. None of the animals were seriously injured, but a vet was going to check them out just to be sure. Animal Control is looking for their owner. You could say this hockey game was a fight to the end. This brawl broke out at a Texas rink. No, these aren't the pros. These are high school kids battling it out for a championship title. One player took a blindside hit from an opponent, leaving him with a concussion and a jaw injury. 6 players in total were disciplined. 2 received suspensions, which could impact their college scholarships. And take a look at this. Cricket fans in India took to the streets in celebration after their country's team earned a spot in the Cricket World Cup finals. India topped Pakistan in the semifinal round. More than 1 billion people watched the match on TV. The finals are set for Saturday in Mumbai. For Take a Look at This, I'm Andy Rose.
Quick weather recap for tonight. Our low is going to be around 39. We already are seeing some showers out there. And tomorrow we can expect our high around 73. It will be partly cloudy and we may see some showers later on in the day. But if you take a look at your 5-day forecast, you can see we are going to have a nicer weekend, some more sunshine and a few clouds, and we will see some rain by Monday, but the sunshine should be back by Tuesday.
All right, sounds good, Katie.
So, Marshall, it's opening day for baseball. What kind of games can we catch tonight?
I think there's 4 more games left. I think you can see the San Francisco Giants versus the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight at I think like 8 o'clock on ESPN. And the St. Louis Cardinals are also playing. Last time I checked, they were winning 1-0. So keep that updated.
Sounds good. Keeping up on your baseball this year.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us tonight on TV 16 News. For all your news, sports, and weather, keep it here.
From all of us here at TV 16, have a great night.